What is up, everybody? Welcome back here for another Dolphins versus the World. And it is me, your host, Chase. And as always, I'm joined by the man behind the camera, our producer, Joel. And we're doing a little different one here, just me today. Anthony cannot make it here for some personal reasons, but that's all right. But what wasn't all right was the Dolphins' performance here in Philly. Rough one for the Dolphins. A pretty humbling game. I think a lot of fans are sort of saying I don't see it as much as that. Final score: Eagles 31, Dolphins 17. But they were right in this game. It was 17-17 for a little, and that's kind of the view I have. There's a lot of interesting narratives to take from this game, and I'll just kind of give my quick thoughts on the game itself. Big picture here between the landscape of the AFC for the Dolphins and what to do moving forward here, and then sort of injuries internally with the team and everything. And then that'll be all, folks. But yeah, it'll be a quicker one here today. I'll just kind of start with what I thought from the game. And just right off the bat, the Dolphins got the best punch the Eagles were going to throw. Very, very cliche to say, but they came out and they stopped us, I believe, at some point in the second quarter before the drive to end the half. It was 36 total offensive yards. Couldn't run the ball, couldn't do anything here. And that happens. I mean, again, that I was saying before that's a real tough place to play. Their fans are as passionate as any, and it seemed to struggle all night. There was problems getting plays in, had to burn a timeout and at one point. And then later in the game, Liam Eichenberg, God bless him, but just poor snaps, mistimed snaps. There was one where I don't know if any of you guys watching saw his eyes when he got the ball and had to just slide right away when he was trying to hand it off to Ahmed, but he looked like he saw the fear of God. He was definitely not ready for the snap. Just not a sloppy game, but a lot to clean up here. Offensively, though, I think this is unbelievable offense. I still am going to say it may go down if healthy, if Tua stays healthy and Tyreek stays healthy, as one of the best offenses of all time, if not the best. Definitely the stats took a hit in this game, but who cares when you don't win if your offense is good or not. And that's just kind of what happened. I mean, it was just one of those days. From position overall, I think Tua played fine. He's not the reason we lost this game. If some people want to say it, I did see some things on Twitter where it's like, how do people still defend Tua when he just throws up a beach ball once a game? What are we doing here? Is he the only quarterback who's ever thrown an interception here? If you're going to call him out, you got to call out every other quarterback. Look at Justin Herbert. I think he's hurt, Justin Herbert, but he has been brutal this year. One of the bigger regressions we've seen across the NFL from any player, let alone a quarterback of his caliber. But yeah, between Tua, having some mistime drops from his receivers, Tyreek Hill did not play his best game by any stretch of the imagination. A key drop, but when your O-line is as banged up as the Dolphins is, I mean, my gosh. I'd find it hard to believe any team can win a game without their starting center, guard, and tackle. Once Isaiah Wynn got hurt and Lester Cotton went in, it just magnified the weakness even more. And again, I was saying before this that this is just such a bad matchup for the Dolphins. Their strengths are weaknesses, and then the weakness gets even weaker. It was just tough to watch. They did held up at times, though, and I mean, there's stuff to take away offensively. Again, I just don't think we see the Eagles again. I'll be honest, either way. Either it's the Dolphins not making the Super Bowl or them losing. I don't think the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl. I still think the Dolphins have potential to be. But it's going to come down to that key Germany game versus the Chiefs for me to know what this team is. If they don't go out there and look competitive, and it comes down to the wire against the Chiefs, then I may have to do some reconsidering about what's going on here in Miami, because I don't really know what you could do. There was an interesting stat here that Barry Jackson, Dolphins beat writer, FLA Sports Buzz, put out on Twitter. The Dolphins are now 0-6 in the past 13 months on the road versus title contenders, and that's teams that have won a playoff game in January. And that's pretty alarming. That's not great at all. Is there something there? I'm going to wait till the Chiefs game to make a determination about that. It's tough to play on the road, but in the NFL, like, home field advantage is going away more and more just because of how modern technology is and other stuff. But again, the Eagles had one of the best home field advantages. So do the Bills. But you don't typically see stuff like this from an NFL team. It's more college teams that are so different home and away. But something to monitor again. And that'd be really frustrating if we just can't beat good teams on the road, something like that. That's if you can't do that, you're not going to be successful in this league. Again, just something to monitor. And then I sort of got sidetracked there, but defensively, I was encouraged, and Anthony told me too. He was encouraged from the defense from what we saw. I thought they held up great against the run, against a fantastic Eagles O-line. Like we said, I thought I was honestly pretty encouraged. And then just the injuries, injuries to the secondary is what hurt this team. They were able to throw all over again. A.J. Brown had a fantastic day. He is a hell of a player. But yeah, I mean, you got to get healthy. But there was encouraging signs from the defense. One thing I was not encouraged by that I think has to be starting to be discussed, if not yet, it will be soon here if things don't change. Vic Fangio has been very, very stubborn here with this defense. Just refusal to adapt. I mean, how much more does he need to see? I mean, I guess with Jalen Ramsey coming back here, Cater won't have to be on the outside anymore. But what is going on here? I mean, it's clearly not working. And the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's what I feel like I'm watching here with some of these defensive decisions. To think Ginkle playing linebacker. I understand we're strapped for depth and everything, but that he's got to be on the edge. Your best player has to be in his best position, and he has been the best player defensively this season. One way or another, that's just the truth. Javon has been great also, and he suffered a concussion. But from what I've seen, he's not in protocol. However, David Long is. I don't know if you need either of them, quite frankly, this week. But this is going to be an interesting spot for the Dolphins because New England has some newfound confidence, and also the Dolphins are going to be very clearly looking ahead to Germany. So you can't take this game lightly. I don't think they will. It's a divisional game. They seem to have a pretty good grip on the division for the time being, with the Bills losing to the Patriots this week. So that was very key for the Dolphins. Nothing happened really division-wise. But, I mean, you can't count out the Jets just yet. Crazy enough to say, but, yeah, I mean, anything could happen. It's the NFL, guys. But, yeah, so kind of to just recap the game here, just lastly, I'm encouraged by aspects of the defense. The offense, I have some question marks. It's time to just pull out all the stops. Teams are kind of, I don't know if catching up is the right word, but the two better coach teams we played so far in Buffalo and the Eagles, they had answers for what you were throwing at them. So you got to adapt. It's time to to break out all the good plays. Don't be scared to put anything on film at this point. It's getting late enough in the season where we just got to go here. And that's not saying that Mike McDaniel wasn't calling the good plays. The behind the back pass to Tyreek Hill on the reverse sweep was just as unique as it comes. So just I wouldn't be too down after this. Again, I think this is just the worst matchup for the Dolphins. However, if now they lay another egg against the Chiefs, I'd be very concerned. Is kind of where I'm at personally. Not throwing this game out or anything like that, but yeah, that'd be where I am. The one thing I haven't talked about in the game was the officiating. And I'll briefly just say I'd never try to blame the officials personally. If you ask any fan base on the planet, the refs are always against them. So I think the bottom line is the officials are just bad, and that's going to happen sometimes. You're going to be on the right side of that, the wrong side of that. I tend to think it evens out at the end of the day, just over the long term, maybe not year to year or week to week, but eventually there will be some bad calls against the Dolphins and some bad calls that benefit the Dolphins. But people don't remember the ones that benefit them. Just the way it is. However, they were just terrible. I mean, just missing everything left and right. 0 penalties called on the Eagles. Really, like you couldn't even do one holding to make it seem a little less obvious that you were scared to call things in Philly. That's what I just think was happening. I think the refs were just intimidated by the environment. And that's another thing that the home field advantage of Philadelphia brings. So, when you go there, you got to bring your A game because they're tough to beat and they're tougher to beat at home. But yeah, I mean, just a horrible officiating that hurt the Dolphins. And it would have even been worse if they didn't. The missed face mask on Cedric Wilson was inexcusable. Again, I just think it was personally a fear to call stuff, and then the home crowd just gets all over you if you're a ref. But it ended up not mattering per se, with the very next play being a pick six for Jerome Baker. So sort of ball don't lie moment. And then that was pretty much the last positive thing for the Dolphins in this game. And one of the other things, like another reason you got to give credit to the defense, is they got him to 4th down a lot, but the tush push, the brotherly shove is so good and effective. I don't know what you do if you're the NFL. Maybe they ban it, but how is that fair? I mean, they're just better at it, man. They can get 3 yards a pop at it anytime. I mean, they could go for it on their own 5-yard line on 4th down, 4th and 1. I'd have no problem with it. It's that effective, what they're doing. I don't know if there's an answer to it. The Dolphins certainly don't have one. Maybe someone comes up with it over the course of the season, but it's unbelievable what they've been able to do. If I were the Eagles, I'd literally go for it every 4th down. Why not? It feels like they're going to get it. So the defense I thought did good. I mean, how do you stop that? Just brutal, demoralizing, and then they just ran away with the game. But yeah, now you got to get to New England, stay healthy. That's priority number 1. And the Dolphins didn't have any key guys getting down because Javon Holland's not in protocol, and getting some guys back. Robert Jones and Nick Needham hopefully playing. Jeff Wilson was used sparingly, but getting him back is also going to be key. But yeah, I mean, just Jalen Waddle looks hurt. I mean, he was in a lot of pain, and they said it was his back, and backs are, tricky things that linger, back injuries. So got to watch out for that. Hoping he's okay. And, if you got to rest him this week, that's fine. I think you should be able to beat New England without him. And then I also saw Jalen Ramsey supposedly is on pace to play this week. I don't know if I agree with that move. I guess get him some game time, but again, you should be able to beat New England without him. But yeah, I mean, you need him next week for the Chiefs, which is what looks like he should at least be back for the Chiefs game, if not this week. So that's great, because the Dolphins need him back, man. They need him badly. They just have been destroyed by some receivers. A.J. Brown was killing them. Adam Thielen last week. So they need him back desperately. And X coming back too is big. Connor Williams should be playing it. If not this week, I'd be shocked if he didn't play against the Chiefs, barring a re-injury. But between him, X, Jalen Ramsey coming back, that's big. Those are big. And then I've not seen any update on Isaiah Wynn. Hoping for the best for him. Let me see if I could just do a quick search here for everyone real quick, and then I'll say a couple final things and wrap up. But I can't find anything, so I don't know what's up with him. But hopefully he's okay, because they need him. Lester Cotton is not ready to play NFL football. That's for sure. Yeah, so I mean, just big picture, everything's going to be okay. This wasn't a conference loss. You just got to go and handle business against the Chiefs. If you do handle business, I think you can be as optimistic as you were again before the season about this team, and they still have aspirations to be great. But if not at that point, then maybe the focus reshifts from Super Bowl to winning a playoff game, because it's been a long time. I haven't seen one in my life. So hopefully they can at least do that, because the Lions are certainly going to have a home playoff game this year, and they currently have the longest drought. So you don't want to be stuck with the longest drought if they win and the Dolphins can't get a win. So yeah. And then final thing here, the Dolphins have been chosen for in-season Hard Knocks. I saw Mike McDaniel say he expects the cameras to start after Germany. I'll be watching that. I don't think that's the best thing. It's an unnecessary distraction. Look what it did to the Jets. The players got to talk all the time, and you get so many phony moments and everything. But I mean, the Dolphins did it to themselves, I guess. It's Mike McDaniel's fault for being so interesting and a media darling. And then Tyreek Hill loves to be in the media, and it's going to be a good watch, obviously. But yeah, I just hope it doesn't affect the team. I'm certainly glad it's going to start after Germany, because they need to have 100% attention in that game. That is the biggest Dolphins game since the last playoff game in my mind. That could determine a home playoff game, B, maybe a 1 or 2 seed. Don't think the Chiefs are going to lose too many more games. So if you want to have any chance of getting the 1 seed, you got to beat the Chiefs. But yeah, looking forward to the Hard Knocks. Hopefully it's not a distraction here. And what else do we got here? Yeah, Buffalo losing was key. And then we'll just see. It's something to watch, guys. I mean, this is a week-to-week league. So don't get too down. The Dolphins aren't as good as their best when they hung 70 on the Broncos. They're not their worst when they, lost to the Bills. So we'll see. Move on to New England. Have a good home crowd there. Bring some positive momentum going into Germany, and then capitalize on the moment, because that is the biggest moment of the season so far. And if you want the season to be special, you're going to have to take advantage of that, and just stay healthy. That's priority number 1. Hopefully the Dolphins are getting more healthy. We'll continue to monitor any updates and hope for the best, guys. But yeah, let's go on to New England and beat them, and we'll go from there. From us at Dolphins vs. World, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in on this shorter episode today. And fins up. Go Dolphins.